Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of We're Screwed. I am your host, horror author James Hershey Jr., and with me, as always, down in the bottom corner down there, old boy James Ash, and up there in the top is Andy Andrews. How y'all doing?
Pretty good. How you guys doing tonight, motherfuckers?
Good, man.
All right,
Back,
boys.
motherfucker.
Here's what I got. What I want to start off with tonight is something that my wife showed me today, and it was pretty nuts. And I've heard it before, and I'm sure everybody watching has heard this before, and I'm sure you guys have heard of it before. But she watches a lot of TikToks, and everybody who watches staring knows what we think about TikTok. It's kind of ridiculous. But in these TikToks, there's a bunch of people, and the new conspiracy theory thing everybody was talking about was the fact that birds are not real. That birds are in fact drones. And the proof of this was that you see these son of bitches sitting on top of power lines all the time. And what they're doing sitting on top of those power lines is charging because they're electrical. Okay, this is what these people on TikTok were saying. And I laughed my ass off. And Star's like, wait a minute. And Star doesn't usually like make the good points like that, like the logical points, you know what I mean? She's one of those people that believes a lot of this stuff until I can show her, hey, this is bullshit, look. And then she was like, oh, okay, I see. But she's the one this time said, wait a minute. Birds sat on power lines long before there was even anything like a drone, long before any of this stuff. When my grandmama was a little girl, birds have been sitting on power lines. Birds have been sitting on power lines as long as there was power lines. So how do they explain that shit? And I'm like, aha. So that's the one thing I want to talk about. And then there was another one about cloning that we can get into afterwards. But let's discuss this one first. So whoever wants to go.
Here's what I'm going to say. So the fucking bird, it fell on the ground and got eaten by my cat. Was that a fucking drone? Because I seen that was a body and it was skeleton. I've been around. Me being owning ducks and geese. This is the funniest dumb shit that I ever heard in my life. I swear, TikTok. Wonder why it's going to get banned. This is why. Because the fucking stuff people think. Just like that, we never went to the moon. Just like the world's flat. And you know, we're back to where Columbus was going to fall off the edge, like, you know, in the cartoons, it shows him off a fucking waterfall 10 trillion feet. Birds are real. Crows are real. We didn't just, before we had cell phones and even TikTok existed, in the 70s, I've seen birds. We've had birds that used to go on boats with parrots. And that was like the 1500s, that people have had pet birds since, since the beginning of time. So I guess those are drones. So I wonder where people get this shit. I fucking think to myself, you can't be that stupid. But people fucking has totally changed. I can't say that because people prove me wrong every fucking day. You know, you have people who throw rocks at tigers at like a zoo and think that nothing's going to happen. And then they don't estimate how high tigers can jump. And some of these places back, you know, not in back east, but in other countries don't have the same kind of stuff that we do, like with policies and stuff. So this tiger jumps over an 18-foot wall and kills a motherfucker. I didn't think that was going to fucking happen. What do you, I swear people are dumb, dude. Just like, you know, you'll see people, I don't know if you've seen people trying to jump like 100 feet to one side of the building to the other, and then they'll smack their face and bust their teeth out. And they're all, I didn't think that was going to happen. You know what? Most times, I'm going to tell you, unless you're a stuntman or you're very lucky, even them, they die. I've seen the stuntman where the guy was climbing. He's like climbs giant. It was like in Japan. He was climbing a giant, big, story building. It was 1,000 feet up there, and he accidentally, I guess he grabbed it wrong, and he got caught where he couldn't pull himself up, and he slipped off and fell into his death. And they were recording it, and it just seems people are doing dumber shit every time, and it just, you know, the eating dipods, you know, people, you know, there's still people doing that. Still, oh, it looks like candy, so I'm going to try to fucking eat it. And they do. And it's crazy to me because it just seems like people are getting stupider. stupider and stupider. And now we hear that what's next is sharks and whales. Are they going to be drones too? Is that what it is? They're just robotic and they're in the water and they've been there before we were, but dinosaurs were fake too. They're just drones. Dogs, they're not real. They're just a midget. Just like, that there's some people who said 2 + 2 it does not equal 4. Haven't you heard that one? Because we're millions of atoms in our body. And that's a theological world that's true, but in reality it's not. I'm sorry, there's 3 of us. 1, 2, 3. You take one of us away, there's 2. Not 17 million. 2 + 2 is not 5. And that's another thing that I was going to talk to you guys. I saw that people really believe that numbers isn't real. That 2 + 2 is not real. It's not really 4. We made it up, and we're using math from thousands of years ago. It doesn't make any sense. That because if you think about it, we're millions of particles per person, so it's not really 1. It's more than that. So this is the logic that people are using now. This is why we're fucked, dude. If you think about it, if you look what's going on, why do you think I do this show called We're Screwed? Because we are fucked. I should change it to we're fucked, because that's what it is. If you're looking at what we've went from making airplanes and spaceships to fucking jumping into fucking tiger cages and thinking we're going to survive it. Or people who think they're going to fight somebody with a gun. You seen that guy? He thought he was going to fix fight. The guy shot him fucking 6 times. They sound like a cat, like an alley cat screaming. Because there's people who really think they're going to survive getting shot 6 times because there's some kind of or the one guy who was trying to hit on this this guy and the one guy's, oh, my dad's a werewolf and my mom's a vampire. But yet he lives in his parents' basement. Don't you think if you were 10,000, and I knew somebody like this, he really thought he was a vampire and he was 2,000 years old, but yet he was living on my friend's couch. If you were a vampire, would you be living at somebody's garage or couch if you had this many years to living? I'd be a fucking millionaire or a billionaire by that, not sleeping at my buddy's house, barely being able to pay a phone bill. This is the shit that people think. And I'm serious.
Oh boy, he was a junkie, man. That must have been what it was. He was an addict. That's what it describes why he was that old, 2,000 years old, and still living on a couch, man. He must have been strung out on something, man. Man, give me some blood, baby. Come on, baby, just a drop. I suck your dick, mama. Come on, I need some blood, baby.
We're screwed, guys. And when people realize it, and I'm just saying all together, that there's more and more stupid people every day. There's people who actually believe Godzilla attacked Japan. Didn't you see that? They had him on the street, and they said the people of Japan should sue Godzilla for how much chaos he's caused Japan. And there's people who really believe Godzilla did this shit. There is people who believe Godzilla exists. And this is how fucking crazy this is. There's people who think they're fucking Dragon Ball Z characters, and they really believe they are. You know what? If you think that, but yet you live in your parents' house at 30 years old, don't you think you want to get some kind of money and not live with your parents? I'm not trying to make fun of people. Don't try, because I know it's very bad. The economy's fucked and rent's $10 trillion and it's hard to live. I don't make fun of anybody if somebody's really trying, but some of these people are not really doing shit, and they think they're some fucking special because they watch Twilight and they think they're some fucking werewolf and they're running around chasing somebody like fucking, and there's vampire dust coming off their dicks and I don't know, dude. But I'm sorry. If you're a vampire or you're a fucking bat or you're a fucking tiger man or whatever, you're not going to be fucking living at your parents' house at 30-something, 28 years old. And there's these people who are really serious. They really believe this shit. Or they think they're a fucking cat and they run around and go, meow, meow. It's or a donkey. There's people who dress up. Oh, there is this thing, and it's just funny. There's people who dress up like horses and they have like the hoofs and shit. But it was originally a sexual thing for BDSM. There's women and men who dress up like horses, and I don't have to get into this, guys. But they ride them around going hee like they're a fucking horse. And I get it, that's your sexual predator. But there's really people who think they're horses and unicorns now. And now I'm gonna say is what the fuck is in the water, dude? Like, because one, shit, I wish I could not fucking do work anymore. Maybe I could be the fucking Aquaman and I'll jump in the fucking water and I can fucking call dolphins and they fly out of anywhere. I can fly in them. No, dude, it's not like that, dude. But I wish maybe it was. Whatever their trip they're on, I want to know, because that's some fucking powerful drugs. When you think you're a fucking unicorn and you can fly on rainbows and shit and not worry about paying any bills. You know, this is the reality of people, man. Like, people really think that. I've met people who think they're vampires, and I have no problem with it if that's what you think. You know, and not that they're real vampires. They just think they that's what they need. They need blood to survive. They don't think they're going to live 100 years. I've met people like that, but there's people I've met who think they're 1,000-year-old vampires and 1,000-year-old werewolves, and or they're both, or they're gargoyles, or they're you know, and more power to you, man. You know, whatever you want to believe, but when I see it on fucking TikTok and all this shit we're talking about, now you're talking about drones and crows. What is next? I mean, what's coming? People, Skittles fly out and they talk to you now. I mean, what's next? I don't know what's going to be next. I can't even fathom what's going to be next.
Aquaman was always the dumbest fucking superhero, dude. I gotta say that as someone who grew up watching everything, like I love superhero stuff. I've read all the comics. I've watched all the cartoons back in the 70s and 80s. Remember Saturday morning, man, you get that big ass salad bowl and you fill that shit with cereal and make a loaf of bread worth of toast and butter and you dip that shit in the milk and just eat like crazy and watch just superhero after superhero. I always thought Aquaman was the dumbest one because it's like Superman. I can leap tall buildings in a single bound, bulletproof, shoot fire out of my eyes. You know what I mean? Heat vision. Breath that can freeze things. I can fly. I can do all this shit. And then Aquaman is like, what do? I talk to fishes. You know, I can stop crime in the ocean. What the fuck? There ain't no crime in the ocean. What is a starfish getting out of hand? You know what I mean? SpongeBob down there fucking up. There's nothing going on in the ocean. Of course, you can be a superhero in the ocean. That's easy. There's nothing. What are you going to do? Fight a fucking dolphin? You know, you can talk to fish. So what? You know, that is the dumbest fucking super. The only one that's dumber than that. And I'm going to say it. Oh, you ready for this? Because old boy's going to go fucking ballistic. I think it's probably one of his favorite ones. Batman. Fuck Batman. And fuck all you people that think Batman can beat Superman. You're out of your fucking mind. Batman is just a rich guy. That's it. He's a rich guy who bought some toys. And he's going to beat Superman. Literally invincible. The only thing that can stop him is kryptonite. You know what I mean? Which is dumb anyway. Why would a piece of his home planet be able to stop him? That's where he fucking came from. That never did make any sense. Supposedly the planet was killing him or something. I don't know. But that's a dumb superhero. Batman is not even a superhero. That's just a rich dude. And I don't understand why all these, and it's always the people that like Batman that hate the rich people. You ever notice that? Like, these are the same people doing Occupy Wall Street and all this kind of stuff. Fuck the rich suck. And then they're like, what's your favorite superhero? Batman, he's great. Well, wait, he's a fucking billionaire who instead of helping people is buying toys so he can go in and beat up people that you're protecting on the street, all these criminals that you want to let out of jail. Doesn't make any sense to me. Go ahead, old boy. I know you want to talk about Batman.
The reason I like Batman because he's not he's just reality. Batman could be a real hero I mean, you think about it. And yes, he was a billionaire that had the Joker killed his parents, and he became the fight crime. But Batman, it matters what Batman we're talking about. Now, there's some Batmans I can't stand. I actually enjoy Michael Keaton's Batman. But, I mean, in theory, that could be a reality. But Superman's a punk, dude. And I'm going to tell you why, right? Like this. The reason I don't like Superman is he's always saving the day and flying around. But the problem with him is a piece of fucking Dickon or whatever, what kryptonite, it kills him. And Batman did beat him, honestly. In the comic, actually in the movie, he did beat him. He got a piece of the kryptonite and was able to beat him. So Batman's one of the smartest people. If you ever read the comic books, he's one of the smartest minds of all time. That's why when Darkseid, the Justice League, when Darkseid, he ended up making Batman and kept him around and ended up giving him a robotic suit because of his mind was he's so brilliant. He's not just a super. He was very smart, bro. So it matters what Batman you're talking about. Now, Bruce Wayne Batman, that was the funniest because that motherfucker was him, he's back in the 60s. Him and the Catwoman, he's always had a thing about the Catwoman. Shit, I would too. But, they always have Robin as a pussy. That I never understood that. You got Batman, he looks awesome, and you got Robin who's got this little yellow suit and red shorts. And the only time he made him really cool was in Justice League, or when he left and became Nightwing, because the original Robin left and became something else. And Nightwing was actually a cool character. I actually enjoyed the Nightwing character because he was just a normal guy being Batman. If you think about it,
I'll tell you something. I'm telling you, you're reading this wrong, brother. Batman, billionaire, takes in orphans, dresses them in little bitty underwears and a cape, living with the dude. Come on, this is some Epstein shit, man. Come on, dude.
Epstein was Alfred. So you know what? We're talking about all this TikTok crazy stupid shit. The only thing I can come up with is one word: Democrat. That's what. But I'm going to kind of play devil's advocate here. Look at how much money that probably that person that put out that stupid ass shit will make from views. People will watch that shit, and so maybe some of these people that do that are not as dumb as they look. They know what other dumbasses are going to watch. But yeah, the whole bird thing, we were talking about that at work today and stuff and laughing, And it's like, I was always told that birds land on wires because it warms them up. I don't know if that's true or not, but I think that's what my grandmother told me, that, which it kind of makes sense if you see like bad weather and stuff where they're usually sitting at, But the thing is, we're in a culture of, we're in a cancel culture, but we're also in a culture that these people want to accept everything. And that's where you get these dumbasses that are acting like they're cats and, this and that. It went from a man saying he wanted to identify as a woman or vice versa to now people can be whatever they want to be. And this shit's being taught in our schools, man, at a very young age. When they have guys that are in there that are, cross-dressers reading to kindergarten kids and stuff like that. I mean, Jesus, man, that's got to complicate. I mean, those kids are still wondering, what their anatomy is supposed to be used for, and mom and dad are still having to watch them take a bath so they don't drown their damn selves. But you're going to put a man with a mustache and a beard dressed up as a woman to read them some kind of, freaking, bedtime story or whatever the hell you want to call it, and act like that's something that's, I can't do it. I can't do it because, I mean, we have too many people out here now, man, that are conspiracy theorists on every single thing. It's it's a fear. There was something that we were talking about. I had a friend of mine today that posted on Facebook that he came home and right next to his sidewalk in his front yard was just a rabbit's foot, like eating away something, still had the hair on it, the whole 9 yards. And he was like, what should I do with this? He was more like poking fun and stuff like that. And I hurried up and posted on there. I was like, okay, to begin with, probably another gal that's a friend of mine, she posted it was probably, probably a bird, some type of bird, I guess these drones now. But anyway, that probably picked up, probably dropped it. You know what I'm saying? In the process, like it could have been a vulture, it could have been roadkill that he picked up. she just said it was some predator that ended up probably just dropping that in the front. It just happened to be where it landed at. And I hurried up and jumped in and agreed with her. But also, it was sad, but I had to put in there that before the fear mongers jump in and try to tell you that somebody's trying to curse you and shit like that, just know that it's probably nothing. And he's laughing about talking about, skinning it down and making like a necklace out of it or something like that. And sure enough, man, here came one in there. This person, they consider themselves a paranormal investigator, but they jumped right in and said, oh, and even the girl that did the original post or did the original first message on there, she's from NOLA. She's from New Orleans. So she said, if you were down south, I'd say maybe worry about some voodoo. And that just, man, opened up a can of worms for this person to come in and say the stupid shit of, well, I think you need to take it and, put it in this and then cleanse yourself and this and that, and it's like, holy shit, man, and that's the kind of stuff like with these crows that are supposedly drones. It's fear mongering, man. It's just throwing that shit out there, and it's gotten so bad that anything and everything out there that you pretty much can put on TikTok is accepted. And you see now what the big running thing is that girl that they asked about what she would, do, what was it with her man or whatever, the hot, girl or whatever. And that's like running wild, man. And it's like, it has came down to the point of something like, which that is hilarious. She was straight up and said it how it was. And I got a kick out of it and laughed too, but it's not like, why is that going completely viral? Why is, it just shows how much stupid shit that people can put on TikTok. And that's why TikTok is going to get shut down, because you have a company, man, they're paying people out to yin yang, to make up stupid shit like that. And then now they're talking about crows and, or birds or drones. And I am sure, man, that at some point, probably some kind of, guy that has nothing to do out there, that's probably a freaking genius, probably has made a drone or some kind of spy thing out of a, maybe a bird or something like that. I mean, you had carrier pigeons, you know what I'm saying? You could train them like that, but that'd be the only way they'd be able to do it, man, is to actually just, attach something maybe to a bird. But yeah, man, they let anything fly on TikTok. It's ridiculous. And it shows you how easily the population, especially young ones, can be coaxed and convinced into just about anything. And that's scary, in its own way. I mean, I don't know if you remember there was one out there, I don't know, it's a few years ago, that it was about suicide. And these kids, man, were talking about doing this and doing that. Look at the Slender Man thing that happened, man. That was TikTok produced, where these kids were watching Slender Man and they took their friend out in the middle of the woods, man, and like gave her as a sacrifice so they wouldn't get, attacked by Slender Man. But these people like the Godzilla, I did see that, where the people were asking for money, because Godzilla had tore up all of these places in China and shit like that. And instead of them vetting or something like that, stupid shit like that, or making fun of it, they should, just take that stupid shit off, And then we worry about what I go through where I live at. I have to go through every day of hearing the cancel culture when it comes to, the Confederacy and stuff like that. And, nobody looks at history. Nobody looks at anything anymore, man. It's all either cancel or it's fear. That's the only thing. Like anything comical anymore and stuff like that's actually looked over. And like I was just talking to you guys before we started the show about a guy that now, he was taken as a very serious exploration into the paranormal type of guy. And now he calls himself and portrays to be one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Michelangelo, and he's a grown-ass adult, man. And he's getting bukus of views, and it's like, okay, are these people actually liking it? Are they making fun of it? Are they, just trying to see how fucking stupid that somebody can be? But the thing is, they don't realize that the more and more and more that they play into these people, man, the more these people are getting paid and shit, And it's like, it's scary in its own way that people can be pushed to a point to think that every bird out here, for as long as birds have been around, which has been from, the beginning, that now they're drones. Like, we literally have somebody that could put that many. I mean, no logic to it. That's the thing. There's no logical thinking anymore out here, man. They just take everything for what some guy says or gal says, and they run with it. I was making fun of, I can't say his name, but I was poking fun at the Facebook guru, if you catch what I'm saying, the guy that started Facebook. If you literally look at him, man, and pictures and stuff like that, he looks like he is definitely AI, man. Like, he looks like he's definitely a robot. Like, he just looks, man, like his eyes, his expressions, his face, everything like that. And you know that I put that on there, and actually I got a message from him that they could not put that on YouTube, and they couldn't put it on, or not YouTube, but it was TikTok. And I was like, okay, but then some dumbass can put on there that the black crow up on the power lines getting recharged and shit, So how do they get them to shit on my car like they do all the time? You know what I'm saying? Especially after I've washed it. I mean, is all this, fake? Well, it's just like, man.
Yes, Andy, see Zuck, man, he knew you were talking shit. And he's in control of all this shit, and that's what happened. Is he got him to shit on your car, brother? That's what it is. But let me tell you really quick what the problem is. You got a nugget of truth. Okay, you have something that is actually true, and then what happens is stupid people get a hold of that. They hear that the one thing is true, and then they want to sound like a big shot, so they got to invent a whole big thing to go around it. And then other stupid people hear that, and they keep going, okay? The nugget of truth in this, about the birds being drones. The nugget of truth is that the U.S. military does have little bitty surveillance drones that are about the size of a fly. They look like a fly, and they use them in the wars in the Middle East, where these things will fly into tents and caves and be a fly on the wall, literally. But it's a little surveillance drone, okay? That's a real thing. That's a real technology that they possess. There's not a shit ton of them. They're very expensive to make, okay? They take something like that, which there's been multiple articles about. I've actually covered some of them on Paranormal News. And they take that and they say, okay, if they can do a fly, that means that all these birds aren't real. And then you get all this bullshit. And then you have what you guys were also saying with them making money off of it. That's 100% true. Like the people that are doing the original post, a lot of those people don't actually believe the shit. But the problem is you got a bunch of other dumb people that do believe the shit. And then they start talking about it, and it's the biggest thing in the world to them. There's so much of this shit. There was a guy on there that was claiming to be a clone on TikTok. He's claiming to be a clone, and he's talking. And, of course, with the style today, they're wearing these little shirts and all this shit. So he's got like a little half shirt on, what we used to call a half shirt back in the day, right? You can see his belly. And he's sitting there saying he's a clone, and I'm like, wait a minute, motherfucker, you got a belly button right there. If you're a clone, how the fuck you got a belly button? A belly button is where the mother's umbilical cord attaches to the baby to feed the baby. If you're a clone, you're grown in a test tube or a lab or whatever the fuck it is, you don't need a belly button. What the hell you got a belly button for? You're full of shit, bud. You know what I mean? And this dude's claiming that he wrote all these songs. He wrote like songs for Miley Cyrus, for Britney Spears, for Metallica. He claimed he wrote Unforgiven by Metallica, some Megadeth songs, all these different songs. So not only is he a clone that has a belly button, but also he's one of the most talented songwriters on the planet who can write in every genre. He claims that he did all these raps for all these famous rappers, for Eminem, for Flo Rida, for these kind of people. Claims that he wrote all these songs. So not only is he a clone with a belly button, but he's one of the most talented writers ever that can write in every genre. And he must be a time traveler too, because some of the songs that he said he wrote came out before he was born. So that means that he must be a time traveler as well. You see what I'm saying? But the problem is you got all these people that believe this nonsense. And then they'll start believing it. And then once you kind of point some of the stupid shit out, then they're like, okay, well, maybe that's not true. But I still think there's something to this. I still think he has. It's like, no. Listen, if you prove part of it wrong, if you prove that part of what he's saying is bullshit, that discounts everything he's saying. You can't believe the rest of the shit he's saying because this part is bullshit. If he's claiming he wrote a song that was released before he was even born, he's full of shit. Okay, so everything else he says is bullshit. Don't believe it. Once somebody's lying to you like that, that's it. You don't believe anything more they say. And there's so much of that shit going on, man. And somebody in the comments one time, we were talking about TikTok, and they're like, TikTok's just a platform, man. You can't say it's all TikTok. Well, no. He has a point. TikTok is only a platform. And it just happens to be the predominant platform where most of the dumb fucks are. But there's plenty of dumb people on YouTube. There's plenty of dumb people on Facebook, on Twitter, all that kind of shit, right? All of these platforms have dumb people on them. And they all want to be bigger than they are. And that's the problem. I see it all the time. Everybody knows that one of my guilty pleasures is going into flat earth pages and groups and kind of poking them idiots. Just poking them with a stick. You know what I mean? The last time I talked about it on here, we actually had one of them come on the comment section and was trying to debate me in the comment section. And he was, so you can't prove that gravity is real and you can't prove it. It's like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? You crazy asshole. What do you mean gravity ain't real? You know what I mean? People think that the atmosphere is just going to go off into space. They don't even understand how shit works. The reason why the atmosphere doesn't go off into space is because of the Earth's gravity. That proves gravity exists. See, the way it works is you have more molecules of air closer to the core of the Earth. As you go higher in elevation, the air gets thinner. Thinner means that there's less molecules of air. That proves gravity exists. Because if gravity didn't exist and we were in a dome like the flat Earth people think we are, then what that would mean if you blow smoke, if you take this and you go, and you blow that into a vacuum, into a dome, like a snow globe or something, right? And you're able to seal it. What happens? It spreads throughout the whole dome, right? It goes through everything. So if the Earth was flat and had a dome on it, like a fucking snow globe, like these idiots think, then that means that the air at the higher elevations wouldn't be thinner. It would be equal. There would be equal numbers of air molecules all throughout the dome. The fact that there's less air molecules the higher in elevation you go, which means the air is thinner, the reason for that is because of the mass of the Earth. Okay, the Earth is massive, and it produces a lot of gravity. Gravity pulls everything towards the center of the Earth, the center of that mass, which happens to be the center of the core, right? Everything's pulled towards that. That's what gravity is. That's why you don't go flying off, right? If you're they claim it's electromagnetism. That's what they claim the force is that's acting on everything to keep it. It's not gravity, it's electromagnetism. Well, in electromagnetism, things can be repelled, right? They attract and they repel. So if you're saying that electromagnetism makes things attracted to the Earth and that's why everything stays, well, they can also repel. So why wouldn't anything ever fall up? Ever in the history of ever. Why hasn't anything ever fallen up? It always falls down. Why? If it's electromagnetism, it should fall up. As a matter of fact, they're going to say, well, it falls towards the higher density or the less dense, right? Well, if it falls towards the less dense, it should fall up. Definitely it should fall up because the air is thinner up there. It's less dense. There's more air molecules underneath than there are above. So if it was electromagnetism, everything would fall up. It wouldn't fall down. Or at least sometimes something would fall up, but it never does. You know what I mean? That's the problem is you have people that hear shit and they start talking about it, and they think that they know what the fuck they're talking about, but they're dumb, and they don't know anything. I mean, if you're arguing with me whether gravity exists, for fuck's sake, You're an idiot. I'm sorry. I know I'm supposed to be nice. Fuck you. You're stupid. Drop something. See what happens. It's going to fucking fall. Why is it going to fall? Because of gravity. Gravity exists. I can't believe that we actually have to have that conversation with grown people. Grown people. I'm surprised they're not wearing helmets and the water wings and doing this with a fork. I mean, it's fucking insane, dude. You got the flat earth dipshits. You got the clone people. You got the fucking birds or drone idiots. There's so many of these that are just dumb. The Mandela effect has turned into a shit show. The Mandela effect, when it first happened, dude, was an interesting thing. There's all these things that we all remember. You know? Like the Queen song, We Are the Champions. Like at the end of it, it goes, in the end, or whatever, right? Everybody knows that part at the end. Everybody's seen it. The part in Star Wars where he says, Luke, I am your father. Supposedly that's not real. Supposedly C-3PO's leg is silver, not all gold. When I grew up, it was 2 gold legs, right? That's what I remember. There's tons of these, right? And in the beginning, we even did a show on it on Staring. In the beginning, you could go through all these and you were like, wait a minute, I remember it different. I remember it different. I remember it different, right? It went from that. So now it's turned into where they have all these pages and these groups on all the different social media platforms. And you have all these people that are commenting every day in the Mandela Effect groups. And you'll see this. In my reality, this happened. Or in my reality, this happened. So we'll say, in my reality, Tony Danza played Batman. Motherfucker, Tony Danza didn't ever play no Batman in your reality. You're a dipshit. You don't have no separate reality than the rest of us. It's some weird thing that's happening that's affecting everybody. You don't come from a different reality than me and Tony Danza played Batman. You're full of shit. You're just trying to make yourself look cool or something. I don't know what the hell you're trying to do. Make yourself look important. You get so much of that bullshit. You see that with the starseed bullshit. You see that with all these people that claim to be vampires, like old boy was talking about, these dipshits. I mean, yes, there are real vampires. On that show, What Are Demons, Where They Come From? I went through that and proved that biblically what the original vampires were in myth and lore. There are people called psychic vampires today who feed off of the negativity and the emotions of other people. There are certain things. And then there are people who just think that they're vampires. And the people that think that they're vampires, who pretend that they're vampires, are no different than the man dressed up as a woman with the beard shaking his ass for the kindergarten kids. It's the same thing. It's a delusion. It's bullshit. It's make-believe in your fucking head. It isn't reality, and the rest of us don't have to accept it. You know what I mean? It's all bullshit. Every bit of it, man. And it sucks because we started out doing Staring like 8, 9, I don't know how many fucking years ago, a long time, almost a decade ago at this point, right? And we used to talk about a lot of this. 8 years, okay. We used to talk about a lot of this interesting stuff. You know, I would go back and we would go through all this old lore and all of this stuff, and I would say, this is what the lore says on it, and this is what the real world implications of it, and here's the science of it. And it was really interesting conversations on all these different topics. And it's went from people actually having intelligent conversations about it, to now you get people who pretend to be vampires and pretend to be this, that, and the other thing. And the paranormal has just got so damn dumb that somehow we became the voice of reason. How the fuck did that happen? How did the guys who talked about vampires and werewolves and skinwalkers and all that shit every week, how did we become the rational ones? And we're the ones that have to tell all these dipshits that, no, you're full of shit, that doesn't exist. How are we the skeptics now? That's insane to me. How did that happen? We were the ones that always said nothing is impossible. Don't ever discount anything 100% until you look at it and you examine it. You know what I mean? But it's gotten so ridiculous. There's another guy on TikTok I was watching that goes out on boats all the time. And he'll be out on the boat and he'll be out on the deck and he'll say, you hear that? There's a mermaid. There's mermaids here. And you can hear it like, like these mermaids are singing these beautiful songs, right? And you're like, oh, that's beautiful. Show me the fucking mermaid. Just move the camera around, dickhead. Never moves the camera around. Why don't he move the camera around? He's like, oh, I can see the mermaid. It's right there. Okay, well, fucking turn the phone so I can see it, you dumb dick. If you want to prove that it's real, show me. They never show you because they're full of shit, man. You know what it is he filmed himself out on the boat pretending that he was doing something. And then he went home and he moved that file from his phone over to his computer or his laptop. Then he went into a studio program. There's tons of them. And he added the audio bullshit over top the video bullshit. So then when you watch it back, it sounds like that shit's happening right there on the ocean, but it's not. He's full of shit. You know what I mean? There's so much of that going on too, where people are just faking so much shit, and I hate that. You know, we've had people that we've done stuff with before that have tried to fake shit. You know, and we're like, get the fuck out of here with that. I'm not going along with that pretending that shit's real. You know, that shit never makes air, because if somebody tries to fake some shit, we shut it down immediately. You know, we're like, stop, you're full of shit. Don't pretend like something pushed you. Don't pretend like something scratched you. Fuck you. I just watched you roll that ball yourself, you fucking idiot. You know what I mean? We've done it. Old boy's done it. I've done it. So where we've called people straight the fuck out on that bullshit. You know what I mean? Good old Zach Baggy, the fucking, the guy that's the paranormal man. You know what I mean? Them fuckers got caught doing that same shit, rolling shit across the floor and pretending like it was something it wasn't. You know, there's so many of these people that are just full of shit, and they're lying to you, and it's bullshit, and I don't like it. I'm at the point anymore, dude. I still love helping people. Don't get me wrong. You know, I do a thing called emotional and spiritual healing. It's not all supernatural and spooky like it sounds. It's essentially therapy is what it is. You go through, you work through your past traumas, you turn that shit over to Jesus, and you cast the demons out. It's that simple. You know what I mean? Basically, what it amounts to, even for non-believers, is just a way of facing the trauma and getting rid of it, purging yourself of it. You know what I mean? So that you close those doorways. It's a scientific thing. It's not all hooky, man. You know, like it sounds. That's what I specialize in. And we go out and we help people. I help people. Andy helps people. Old boy helps people. We do it all together sometimes. You know, I still do that stuff on occasion. But I'm at the point with the paranormal, I am so sick and tired of it because of all these dumbass people. You know, and everybody thinks they're a hot shit. Everybody wants to be on a TV show. Everybody wants to be this or wants to be that. And fuck all of you, man. You're all jokes. You know, all of you. There's so many people, oh, yeah, well, I do this paracon. Well, I do this paracon. I don't give a fuck about your paracons. Paracons are stupid. I'm going to tell you that right now. Paracons are fucking stupid. Who cares? You know what happens? Because I've been invited to a lot of these fucking things. I'll tell you what happens. They message you. They get on the old email machine, right? And they say, hey, James, I'd love to have you at my Paracon. Why don't you come, give a speech, set up a table, do your thing, right? I'm like, okay, what are we talking here? What are you offering me? What's going on here? Oh, we don't pay you anything. Like most of them, sometimes they'll give you a hotel room if you're lucky, but most of them don't even do that. So like you got to fly or drive there on your own dime. You have to get your own hotel room out of your pocket. Then you got to go into this Paracon, which is usually just some stupid location where they got some tables set up or something. It's not a big deal. The biggest ones, it's like a convention center type deal where you're going like into a hotel or something, and that's all it is. So then you go in there and you stand up and you give a speech to a bunch of people who don't know shit, who don't want to hear what you have to say most times. They're not really there to hear you. They're there to investigate or to do whatever, right? So you stand there and you give your speech or you do whatever you're going to do, and then you go and sit at your table and you sell autographs or you sell pictures or books or whatever you got. You know, you hawk your bullshit and try to make a few bucks, enough to cover your gas and your hotel and all that shit. And that's what the majority of these things are. Now, there are exceptions where people make a little bit of money, but usually the only people making money are the people that actually rented the location in the first place, who are charging tickets for the people to come to it. They're the ones that are making money. Most of the people who are there to be the talent for the Paracon aren't making dick. You know, I've only done the one for Andy. That's the only one I've done. I've been asked to do a hell of a lot, but I'm just not doing it, man. I'm not traveling hours and hours and hours on my own dime. I'm not putting up my own money for a hotel room, all that shit just to go and be your celebrity guest for the day. You know what I mean? Why would I do that? I'm not making any money off of it. Why would I waste my entire day and spend a lot of money? I mean, you got to realize when you do one of these things, especially with gas the way it is now, you end up a couple $100 at least in the hole. At least. And if it's far away, more than that. So why would I pay out of my pocket $300 or $400 to come and give a speech at your little goofy Paracon? What's it gain me? Nothing. People do it, but why do they do it? Because they want to look like big shots. Because they want to look like they're famous. They want to look like they're important when they're not. They're just not, you know? But that's the problem. Nobody can admit they're not. Everybody pretends that they are. Everybody has to go, no, wait, I'm somebody. I'm important. Didn't you see me on this show or this thing or that thing? It's all bullshit, man. You're not important. You're not famous. None of you fuckers are. You know, so fuck you. I don't care about your Paracon. I don't care about your little goofy TV shows. I don't give a shit because you want to know a secret? Even if I came on your TV show, I'm not going on with your bullshit. I'm not faking. I'll call your ass out on your own TV show. And what are you going to do about it? You're going to talk shit to me? You're going to get in my face? I'll slap the shit out of you. I'm not afraid of you. You know, these people are jackasses, dude. They're absolutely, and it's funny, man, because they act like they're so tough. They act like tough guys. They go out running their fucking mouth and all this bullshit. But you know what happens when you show up? They don't run their mouth no more, do they? Andy can tell you about that. He's had a couple of those experiences where little bitch boys run their mouth, and as soon as they're face to face, they don't run their mouth anymore. Ain't so fucking tough when there's a big guy in front of you, are you? You little bitch. Exactly. Fuck you. Fuck the whole community. I don't give a fuck anymore. You know what I mean? I'm so sick and tired of you idiots. Now, I'm not saying everybody. So please understand that there are people out there that are good, that are doing the right thing, they're helping people, and they're in there for the right reasons. All respect to you guys. But there's a lot of you that are jackasses, and you know who you are. You know what I mean? You know who you are. And you want to take a shot at me, go ahead. I don't give a fuck. It doesn't matter what you say. You know, a lot of people get all bent out of shape when you run your mouth about them. I don't give a fuck. Say whatever you want. You know what? I'm still going to be sleeping. And I'm going to be sleeping better than you. And I don't give a shit what you say because you don't matter. You're not important. You're nobody. You're always going to be nobody. And I don't give a shit about you. Okay? Go ahead, guys.
That went from one extreme to the other, from making fun of crows to fuck the whole paranormal world, huh? And just so you know, I meant to say what the Batman was supposed to be Adam West, not Bruce Wayne. I was like, what the fuck? It was Adam West in the 60s. I think it was hilarious, but he was a bad Batman. But in the 60s, what do you expect? I wanted to clarify that one. Let's get into the...
Oh boy, 1 second, brother. I apologize to you. I'm so sorry for interrupting you yet again. But there's something I wanted to say in the very beginning of that whole rant I fucking went on, and I lost my mind because I'm old, and I fucking forgot what I was going to say. I wanted to tell Andy the actual reason why birds land on power lines and they roost there and they sit is because if you look at power lines, usually power lines are in an area that's been cleared so that the power lines can run through, so that there's no tree limbs that fall on them. So most times power lines are cleared out in areas. So when you have areas like that and birds are flying around, they need a place to land because they can't fly forever. So the reason why they land on power lines is because it's the highest and most stable and longest thing that looks like a branch that they can land on. They would ordinarily land on a branch. There aren't any branches because they've been cleared away for the power lines. That's why they land on it. They also land on roofs. You see them all the time. If there's a barn or something like that, they'll be all down the roof because it's the high, straight line kind of structure that they can sit on. So I wanted to say that. That's what I wanted to say in the beginning. I don't know how the fuck I got way over on left field out of the, in my rant, but that's originally what I wanted to say.
It's all right, brother, because we went. And don't get me wrong, I don't care if you think you're a vampire. I don't give a fuck what you think you are. It's just the point is I'm showing you examples. Just like people are dressing up like reptilians, and I was called a reptilian. That's the funniest shit. But we'll get in the paranormal world in a minute. But that's all I wanted to say on that. It's just that we should go on TikTok and make a fucking scary ass song or something and talk real quiet and show this is stuff you don't want to listen to these assholes, and show, instead of showing something scary or some bullshit, just say this asshole said this. We should do that. Think about that. It would be fucking hilarious because you could show how people, and we know the crazy thing is probably get people to follow us, and I don't want people to follow us over that. I want people to see the truth. But the problem is that people want to see bullshit. That's all that matters anymore. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. People want to see bullshit. And that's the sad thing. And now getting in the paranormal world, where do I start? We got people who think their dolls are real and they talk to them. And I'm not saying every one of them are fake, Annabelle and stuff like that. But you got some people who who think their dolls are haunted and they're not. And or you got some people who watch a couple shows and they think they're some fucking ghost hunter and they get their family attacked and other people attacked around them, and then they go and like you were saying, the paracons, and they go around and try to be and kiss the famous people's asses and tell them that they did some paranormal investigation no one else ever did, but you never fucking seen them do shit. And the funny thing is,
hey, you talking about old Special K, ain't you, baby?
we'll just leave it at that. But there's more than just that. There's a lot of people like that. It isn't just him. There's people who watch paranormal, and they're all, I'm going to be like Zach Baggins. You know what? Truth or not, Zach Baggins is a multi-millionaire. And we can make fun of anybody, can make fun of all he wants, and that's truth. He's making his money. It don't matter what I say. Is he gonna go to sleep tonight? Yes, he's a millionaire. He don't give a fuck what me, James, and Andy think, or anybody thinks. Really, I can't say he's an idiot because he's a millionaire. He's not stupid. He made a museum, and people go there and pay a shitload of money, and people watch him every fucking day. Go, and you know what? I've watched the show. I'm not gonna. We have all watched Zach Baggins. Ghost Hunters. I enjoy Ghost Hunters, and we actually have friends that's in. And not gonna say any names, but we know some of the Ghost Hunters from the Ghost Hunter show, and they're really cool people, really down to earth. And I've met them in LA and Las Vegas 2 years back at one of these Paracons. It was a big one, MGM, and they were really cool. And most of them were cool. There was one jackass that, you know, he's very famous. I'm not going to say his names, but if you didn't buy his autograph, he didn't want to talk to you. And even if you did, I got to go do something. Then he's out there talking to somebody else. He didn't want to give you any time of your day. And this is some of the people who are supposed to be famous in this shit. And he's on TV a lot. And it's not Zach Baggins. Not just Zach. Everybody always talks shit about Zach Baggins, but I'll tell you one thing that's funny is people who talk shit, and then we'll see him on the fucking show months later on saying, "Oh, hey Zach," and after they've talked all kinds of shit about him, a couple people I've known have been on that say shit. They'll be on the show. I'm not saying ever. There's a couple people who liked him and they went on the show too. I know a lot of people have been that have been on his show. It's been, I know about 5 or 6 people. So is James. A couple of them really liked Zach Baggins. There's some that didn't. I'm not going to say them by name. But everybody talks shit. But you know what? I ain't going to lie. 95% of people who talk shit will go on his show. I guarantee it. That's what is funny. And I'm not defending him. We all know this is true because people want to get famous. We had, you know, we've had people in our teams in the West Coast and East Coast are the biggest assholes we've ever seen. Or people we've just not, they're not even a part of a team. They just came in, or they're other teams, and they act like prima donnas. They act like they're fucking better than everything. They know every fucking thing. And then we have to go into investigations they've done and fix it. And that's happened. And what's crazy is, and what I don't understand is, you're supposed to be helping people. That's what I do. I'm an investigator, not a hunter. A hunter goes to places all over the fucking world, and I do that. I like it. It's cool, but I try to help people. I'm helping somebody in Long Beach for the last year that was the famous motorcycle racer in the 80s and 90s, Mr. Purdue. And he's a great guy, but he has something fucking with him all the time, like the entity. It's not raping him yet. It's tried. But I'm dealing with this shit. And this is no joke. This guy never believed in anything. Never had any issues. Never, and he's having it. And I'm still dealing. And I've helped him a lot to the point where he isn't trying to kill himself. And I hate to put it out there, but that's the kind of shit I'm dealing with. And what makes me crazy is you see all these people cutthroating each other who's supposed to be friends with all each other, and they fucking talk shit about each other, talk shit behind each other's back. They'll go out, oh, hey, we're friends, and have other people pretend to be friends with with people, and then go tell them everything they said to try to start more trouble. And Andy knows this one very much well. And you know what? And I don't care. People watch this fucking show and have an issue with it. Come on here. We'll invite you on. We'll have it out on here, and we're screwed. Or staring into the abyss. You know what? I'm just going to say it how it is. Not everybody in the paranormal are bad. There's people who genuinely are good people. And there's people are out there to help people. And some of the shows they do are really good, and they're really helpful and a lot of information. And then you got some motherfuckers who just want to be rich and they don't care about helping anybody. They want to see what they can get out of somebody, and if you don't, they'll screw you. And trust me, we've dealt with this. And this is what's so fucking crazy. James is the international horror bookseller that Stephen King bought his books. He sold millions of copies of books. He's famous. And he's also a famous Staring Into the Abyss international podcast host, and We're Screwed. I've been doing a shit with him for 8 years. He's famous. Not like Tom Cruise famous, but he's famous. And all these people, it's funny, who are supposed to be in the ghost hunting world, when James comes around, oh, James, can we have an autograph? They do the same shit with anybody who, even if it's somebody has nothing to do with the paranormal world. And it's hilarious because it will put pictures of stuff that's really interesting, but as soon as we put a picture of one of the ghost hunters who are famous, fuck everybody in the world. Oh, how do you know him? Can you get him to come out to my place who is haunted, or can I get an autograph? Can I talk to him? This happens with everything. Wrestling, sports, everything is like this. Everybody wants to be fucking famous, or they want to get rich because they don't want to work. They think that's going to solve all their problems. Well, listen, asshole, 9 out of 10 people become rich. They go broke because they have the same fucking problems before. They don't know how to manage your money. You have $10 million and you spend 9 of it in a year. That's why people go fucking broke. I'm going to go buy a chocolate bar, come out of somebody's asshole for $100,000, but it tastes good, but I'll spend $100,000 because somebody famous made it. That's exactly what happens. I'm just showing you an example. And that's why we have issues like we have in the world. I'm talking about all together, even in the paranormal world. I'm to the same point with James Hershey. I'm to the point where I don't want to fucking do this anymore because I'm sick of hearing people talk about, well, the ghost show doesn't do it. Well, did you see 90% of the shit on ghost shows are bullshit. You think that shit's really going on? They get a script. I know for a fact they do. We've been told it happens. Now, some of it's not all fake, don't get me wrong, but I know people who've gone and turned shows down and have been on shows that tells us what they have to say and what they're not to say. A lot of this is shit, and it's bullshit, because no one's going to sit there for you hours on end to get a couple of things saying something to you. What's your name? My name is Tim. Okay. And you keep going on and on, showing example. So how many ghosts are there? 3. Well, you ain't going to sit there and listen to that. You want me to sit there and fucking argue with it. You listen here, dickhead. How many motherfuckers are you? Let's go. Let's get in a fight right now. Come in here and throw a fucking soda can at my head so I can fucking tell you go suck a dick. That's what people want to see, and that's how it goes. And that's not how investigation really works. Especially if I'm in somebody's house trying to help them. I'm not trying to be, you know what? I actually got on the camera. And then all of a sudden, I felt like I'm going to punch my camera guy, but I didn't. I started choking myself. And then I fell on the stairs, and I thought I was going to puke, but I almost passed out, but I didn't. And then I wanted to bite my camera guy's nose, and then my other investigator, I wanted to punch him in the face. You know where I'm going, and you know who that is. We all know who that is. That is bullshit. You don't get fucking possessed every fucking time you go out to a fucking ghost hunt or an investigation. Fuck, dude. Come on, dude. That's the truth. Every fucking time somebody's either getting fucking a ghost pinched my ass or a ghost took me over and he told me to tell you this and that. Get the fuck out of here, dude. It doesn't happen. Just like some of these psychics. Not all psychics are wrong, but you got some of these assholes. $250. I'll tell you about your next fucking husband and wife. $250. I'll tell you how you're going to win the lottery. If they were fucking that good, wouldn't they help themselves instead of trying to get $250 out of you, you dickhead? How stupid can you be? I'm not sitting here saying that don't trust them or nothing, but dude, if you're getting charged $250 to talk to a psychic, you deserve it. You deserve to get fucked. I'm sorry. You deserve to get fucked. And you know what? If you keep giving them money, and the sad thing is some of these people I'm helping, they were giving people $1,000. And I want you to know this. And I can call these people out because there's some of these people who were charging people to get help $1,000 just to talk to them over the phone. The investigation to fly them out, they charge $2,500. I want people to realize there's people out here
that are trying to charge people $2,500 to come get help. And then buy my book for $50 too, and I'll autograph it for you. That's what's going on. And this is a couple investigations I've done. Famous people trying to panhandle their book to somebody. I don't know if I can help you, but you can buy my book for $39.99, or you can get the Nook for $19.99. I can't help you, but go ahead and spend $50. And thank you for talking about you just got screwed out of $250. That's what's going on. I want people to realize this is some of the shit that's going on. People are trying to charge people to help them thousands of dollars, and then they end up really not helping them. They fuck them. And I'm not saying any names, but there's people out there doing this. Or you have people say their place is haunted and try to charge $1,000 a team. We all know we want to get into that, do you? There's a lot of places like that, huh, Andy and James out there, especially here in California. The guy got caught jerking off and he died, choking himself to death. You guys can come here for $15.99 for a whole team. I'll give you a deal, $13.99. You guys can come for the night, and you guys take pictures of this ghost, and he appears jerking off while he's hanging by a fucking rope. You know what? If that's what you want to do, good. I understand you got to make money, but $1,300 to come in and see if a fucking place says boo, fuck you. You want to make money off of people, and that's what you're doing. You know what? And it's the truth, and we all know it. Yes, you got to make some money. You have overhaul. I get it. A couple $100, I get it. 1,000, 1,500, or 500 per person. You get a whole team, I'll give you 5,000. You get the whole night. This is the shit that's going on now, because you got people who think they're going to be on TV, or they'll go hang out at conventions and look to talk to the famous people. And I'll tell them that I did this investigation where I jumped down the hole and the demon pinched my ass and I pinched it back. No, you didn't. You didn't do that. You didn't do shit. And you faked it, you got scratched. And there's people who faked they got thrown over the fucking hill by a ghost, or a ghost tried to attack me and put an X on my stomach. You didn't do shit. You're full of shit. I was standing there. I've seen this with my own eyes, and I'm not calling out people. I'm just telling the fucking truth. There's people out here with anything. That's why Ghost is not popular anymore. It's getting out. There's other things. The conspiracy theories, now that they thought everybody was crazy, like me and James are fucking crazy, they're talking about it like it's everyday thing. The reptilian aliens have taken over the presidency, and they show, like, you'll see a piece of skin on Biden's neck or something. Or they'll show some guy, he has like a mask on. And you can see he's wearing a mask, but he's a reptilian. He took off his fake skin that he got from a movie thing. You can buy it, you can put it over your face. It's like V. You remember V? You remember that in the 80s? He scratched their face and it's like a fucking lizard face or something. He's like, ah! You know what? If that's what you believe, fine. Fuck it, dude. You know what? I really am from the planet Sham. And I did really get and that's what's crazy. People believe I am a reptilian demon. So, fuck, I guess I just want to do security and do ghost hunting for the rest of my life and just make 50, 60,000 a year. Instead of making millions of dollars by doing that, I'd just rather just do this. That's why I just undercover, but really, I'm really going to take over the world. That's what I'm really planning on doing. And the sad thing is somebody's going to watch this show and actually believe that I'm really probably lying, and I really am. And I have a secret society that I go and we kill cats or something. I don't know, but there's people who really do that. I'm in the wrong business, guys. I don't know about you, but we're not. I don't know what to do anymore. It just telling the truth doesn't get you anywhere anymore. That's just the truth.
Well, we've always said that we'll tell you the truth on this show, and we always do. And a lot of these shows don't. They're crooked, man. And I'll give you examples. I don't give a shit. I'll tell you. Now, I got to be careful how I tell some of these things, because there are non-disclosure agreements and stuff like that in place for some of the people. But one great example, Sean Austin. Okay, Sean Austin's been on this channel before. Good friend of Andy's. He was on a show called 28 Days Haunted, I believe that's the name of the show. And in that show, they made it look like that he wrote something on the mirror and faked something, when he didn't. He walked into the bathroom and saw it and mentioned it. Hey, look at this. Somebody else had faked that shit. And he said, hey, what is this, right? But they tried to make it look like he was the one that did it. Okay, now, we talked to him about it. Andy talked to him about it and asked him, what the fuck's up with this? Are you faking shit? And we found out exactly what went down there. They lied and tried to make him look like shit, like he was faking, when he wasn't. I can tell you, Sean Austin is a good dude. He's an honorable dude. He ain't faking shit. You can watch him on YouTube. He's got a channel. I think it's like Sean Austin Paranormal or some shit like that. You can go there and click on it and watch. He's got hours and hours and hours and hours of footage. He just goes and records the whole investigation. And you can watch it yourself, and you can see what kind of man he is. There's one example of a TV show trying to fuck somebody over who was a member of that show because they wouldn't go along with their bullshit. I'll tell you another one. Now, this is the one I really got to be careful on. There's a TV show called Ghost Town Terror, okay? In this show, the whole premise of this thing is that there's a demon or multiple demons on this land, and it's possessing the land, and it's really making life miserable for people. Super dangerous situation. You hear that on the face of it, ooh, spooky, right? Oh, that's terrible. We need to do something about that. We should call an exorcist. We should call people that actually know what the fuck they're doing so that we can find out what's happening here, right? Well, here's what happened. They did that. They brought an exorcist in, an exorcist team actually in. And I know they did because he's our exorcist. He's our guy that works with us. His name is Mike Ross. And I have never in my life worked with or met a more honorable and honest man than Mike Ross. I would stake my reputation on that man's name. That's how good this guy is. They go and they check the place out. They say, there might be some little bit of haunting, something going on here, but I don't think this is a super dangerous place. I don't think we're dealing with like massive demons and all this kind of stuff. That's just not what they thought. They did an investigation. They tested everything. That's not what was going on there. But see, the problem is that's what they wanted to be going on there, the TV show people, right? So it didn't matter what the actual team had to say, what the actual exorcist had to say. Fuck what they have to say. This is the narrative we're trying to portray. So what they do is they slap a bunch of NDAs on you. And for those outside of business, an NDA is a non-disclosure agreement. What that means when you sign one of those, that means you can't say nothing. If you speak publicly about it in any way that counters the narrative or makes them look bad or that is outside of the agreed upon narrative that you have signed for, you can be sued. And not just sued, but like sued for millions of dollars, like a lot of money. Okay? But I can tell you what happened there. I never signed an NDA. They went there, they investigated, they found that it wasn't what those people were saying it was. That it wasn't massive demonic activity, it wasn't this scary, dangerous situation. Okay? Does that mean that there's nothing on the property? No, that's not what that means. What that means is you're not dealing with some massive demonic infestation, most likely. And if you are, it didn't show up the whole time they were there. You know what I mean? Doing their investigations. So instead of taking the word of the actual professionals, sanctioned by the church, sanctioned actual exorcists that do this for a living, instead of taking what they say and saying, you know what, we brought the best in, we brought the expert in, he says this is what's going on, so this is what we're going with, this is what's going on. Instead of doing that, they didn't like what he had to say, so they just made it look any way they wanted to make it look. And they slapped a bunch of NDAs on him and Olivine Phoenix, another wonderful, wonderful lady that I know well. She's a great person. But they slap NDAs on them and make them look like shit if they say anything and sue the hell out of them. So they can say anything they want about these people now, and they can't defend themselves and say anything back. Otherwise, they could lose everything. Lose everything. Lose their house, lose their vehicle, lose their kids' college education, everything. Because of some scummy-ass producers who want to lie because it makes a better TV show. That's what goes on. That's the kind of shit we're talking about that goes on these TV shows. Most of them. Not all of them. Most of them. They're scummy, man. It's still Hollywood. It's still TV. It's the same shit as everything else. It's the same shit as the movie stars doing their little weird parties like we saw in Eyes Wide Shut. It's that same kind of shit going on. It's the same kind of people. It's scummy ass people. who don't give a damn about the truth. They don't actually give a damn about helping anybody. It's about moolah. It's about making that money. That's all it's ever been about. And I don't like that shit. You know what I mean? That's why I said, an old boy said earlier, most of these people would go on the show if they asked them. I wouldn't, because I don't like that shit. You know what I mean? I don't like people like that. I don't like people that lie. They go on and pretend something's going on that's not going on and make things look worse than they are. You know, I don't care what you offer me. I'm not doing it. You know, if the only way I would do a TV show is if we did it our way. If we were in charge of doing it and everything was on the level, and we brought you in like we do with Tales from the Abyss, and you could actually see the investigation. And sometimes on Tales from the Abyss, and Andy can attest to this, sometimes on Tales, there'll be something that we think is something. And we'll say, you hear that? What was that? Is that what they just said? And then we'll say, oh, no, wait, that's somebody. It sounds like somebody upstairs. Go check and see if there's somebody up in that other room. Okay, there was. Okay, that's nothing. That's bullshit. That's not anything. We've done it several times. That's how you actually do an investigation. You look for the easiest, the most rational, logical, scientific reason for something happening before you jump to paranormal or supernatural. Okay, it's Occam's razor. Keep it simple, stupid, is another way of saying it. The easiest answer is usually the right answer. So before you jump to, oh my God, it's a ghost, it's a demon, or it's whatever, why don't you check and make sure the door's not open and there's not a draft blowing it? Why don't you make sure before you do that, that voice you're hearing or the footsteps that you're hearing isn't somebody walking around upstairs? Because the reality of the situation is, in a lot of these places that people go and they investigate, it's multiple floors. And you're never the only people in the place, almost never. What happens is they charge money for you to go in these places, a lot of them. So you'll pay your money to go, but they'll sell other groups too. So you'll have multiple groups, especially a big place like a Penhurst or something like that. There'll be multiple groups there at a time. So sometimes what you're hearing and you're thinking is paranormal activity is some other jackass 100 yards away making noise. So you always got to check that kind of stuff, you know? And a lot of people don't. So I'm going to throw it to Andy, and because he knows all of this situation well also. And I don't expect him to say anything that he doesn't want to say. You know what I mean? Because like I said, there's NDAs in place. I know he didn't sign one, but he's been involved in some filming stuff as well. And maybe he can speak a little bit on the industry and what goes on in a way that doesn't get him in trouble. But please, by all means, don't screw yourself. I'm not paying your fine, fucker.
Right. So the first thing that I have been telling people is there's three types of people in the paranormal now. You have investigators, you have ghost hunters, and you have entertainers. And the sad thing is when you have these paranormal conventions, these paracons, is you mix all these people together, man. And unfortunately, with social media the way it is, a lot of these people that are true investigators, they get shunned out by the YouTube or the TikTok, famous people. And I mean, I don't knock that these people are doing that, because simply they're making money doing it, and that's what they're doing it for. What I knock is the people who believe the stupid shit and think that they are literally helping people, because being in the industry or the field for as long as I have, and you know this, or all three of us know this, that if you're doing a private case, man, you're not giving out the information. So therefore, you're not probably videoing anything that you could throw up on social media. Now, you can talk to the individuals that you're helping, and sometimes they don't care if you share some of it, but you don't have to share their name, the location, nothing. You can just show where something happened. And that's another way, if you're a good investigator, to weed out people who are full of shit that are calling you into their homes because they think that, oh my God, which could go back to them trying to charge people to come investigate their place, stuff like that. You know, I've been under a couple NDAs and stuff myself, but there are good investigators out there. So I'll tell you the difference between them. So a ghost hunter, an entertainer, let's start with that. An entertainer is somebody that is doing things to entertain people and get money from it, such as a Zach Bagans. That is one that, you know, he gets, you know, you can't knock him for what he does. But the thing is, I'll just put it to you this way. Today, I actually talked with one of the people that's on Ghost Adventures, and he was gracious enough to help us out with a camp that we were doing for teens. And the young lady that does this camp, she's done it for years, is bringing teens in that are interested in the paranormal field, and she's bringing people in that have been in the field for quite some time to teach them, you know, how to use the equipment, to teach them how to safely do things, how to protect themselves, but also we're teaching them, you know, the right reason for doing paranormal. And I don't knock anybody that's entertaining, but the thing is, don't come off on me, you know, that you are TikTok famous and that makes you, you know what I'm saying, a real investigator. So then you have ghost hunters. Most of us, myself included, I am probably fall. It depends on what the situation is. And knowing that is the better way to go about it. If I go to a place, just like this past weekend, I went to Mid-Orange Correctional Facility up in New York. Okay. It's a place that is known to be haunted. We know that there's ghosts in there. We know that there's energies in there. So when I'm going in there and I'm asking questions and I'm doing stuff like that, I'm ghost hunting because I know that they're there, but I'm just hunting to what, you know, I'm trying to figure out what area they're in. And then you try to get information, but also use that to try different ways to communicate that I can use when I'm investigating. Now, investigators, so I always tell people it's just like a crime scene, okay, that you don't know who the perpetrator is. So you get a call from a family that's having things happen. So you go in this place, you investigate the history of it, you investigate the property, you investigate the claims that these people have, you investigate, you know, past history on anything that happened there. You know, you're investigating everything to come up with a conclusion, whether or not it's haunted, and if it is, what it is that's haunting it. And that's an investigation, the same way they do with a crime scene. You know, they come in, a person is murdered, they don't know who did it, so then they start investigating that person's history and who they had contacts with and why would somebody, you know, want to kill them and stuff like that. You're investigating, and that's the difference. The problem is in here, man, is that these people, I'm so sick and tired of watching these fucking Facebook channels, like being that I, you know, run a ghost tour in Gettysburg, you know, history/ghost tour. You know, I have people that come in that have been on the tour the night before and they have a picture of something, you know, and honestly, you're looking at it and you can tell that it is the actual street lamp across the street reflecting out of the window. But being that I am the general manager and trying to be nice, you know, I always say, well, there's a good possibility, is, you know, or I'll say, you know, well, you know, I see what you're saying, and I guess it could be, you know, we never know. That's being nice. But then I go on these Ghosts of Gettysburg Facebook pages or anything like that. And you have these people, man, that are taking pictures where it's pareidolia. It's freaking a bush because our minds, our brains are wired to see things that we're used to. So we may see different colored leaves off in a distance that literally may look like to you that it could be a cannon, it could be a person, because our brains are wired like that. Nobody puts any logic into it. But then these motherfuckers that are out there that can go in every place that they go in, the fucking Walmart, they could go in the bathroom at Walmart and have a paranormal experience. Not saying that that couldn't happen, but how is it the same fucking people, man, that have a paranormal experience, as well as all three of us in the years we've invested into this field? Honestly, how many times have you had an experience versus not having one? And I'm guaranteeing you that probably it's going to be more times that ain't shit happened compared to something happening. But yet you have these people out here, they pull some of the stupidest shit without any logic or anything like that, man, to, to try to say it's paranormal. Psychics, there's another one, man. Psychics, there's a ton of fucking manipulators out there that are professionals at questioning you enough to where you're actually literally giving them the fucking answers. And then they're turning it right back around and telling you. I know one very personally that's like that. And also being the general manager at the ghost tours, I have, I'll have special events and stuff like that. So the big thing I can tell you with psychics that's happening in my area is there's some out there that now they'll say, okay, $45 for a 15-minute reading. And then in that reading somewhere, they're telling you that you have some kind of a curse or attachment or something on you, and I can get rid of it for another $10. Matter of fact, I'm not going to say who it was, but someone in my company that is actually above me got railed, man, for like $400 and some, man, by someone doing that. But even that person not only they used their card to pay for the services and went back and had some of these supposed things that were attached to her. She was lonely. She was looking to be with somebody. She wanted love. And this person jumped right on that because she fed that woman, the information. And so then she's saying, well, you can't find somebody because this is on you. But for $50, I can take it off of you. I can do this, or I can give you a spell, or I'll give you some kind of a fucking cookie or something that's going to, have somebody fall in love with you or some shit like that, And she didn't fall for it after a time or two. But then this woman ran her credit card for way more than they had agreed on. So the way I look at it is karma's a bitch, and a lot of these people are going to get it back. But you don't hear that part of it. As in paracons and stuff, it's some of them are fundraisers and stuff like that, which are cool and stuff. And I agree with you, James, that, if a person is asking you to come help them bring in more people to make more money, then they should offer, if nothing else, the hotel, especially if it's kind of close to you. A couple hours away, if they give you a hotel for 2 or 3 days, they feed you, it's kind of cool, and they give you the table for free. You know what I'm saying? To set your stuff up. So that's not bad. But the thing is, man, these people will come in, and Ash, old boy's exactly right, man. These people are so worried, man. I have a friend, and I love her to death, but she is traveling thousands of miles, man, in the last couple years to just meet famous people. And I'm not talking about just paranormal. She's going to like these horror movie, people, or these and she's getting all these pictures are coming up on her Facebook, and I'm looking and I'm like, who the fuck is that, man? And you're looking at them And it's like somebody that was in, you know, I don't want to use the Goonies, but one of them was the Goonies. But the thing was, the dude's like, 45, 50 fucking years old now. And when he was a kid, he could walk right past me on the street and I would have not known him from Jack. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's cool to meet him, but I'm not going to travel 4 or 5 hours spending all that money and stuff like that just to go in to get a headshot with this dude. Is it cool? Yeah, it's cool, man. If you met him like, locally or something like that. Talking about shows, man. I can tell you now, I personally know Jason Hawes from Ghost Hunters. And I had this conversation with him just a few weeks ago, standing right in the doorway of my store, talking about the bullshit that's out there now in the paranormal field. And talking about, I can tell you that he turned down a multi-year contract with a big TV corporation because they wanted to pretty much have the say-so in what they put out as in the show, if that makes sense. Like, he has always, for 20-some years now, Jason has always been, and Grant, when he was with him, them two always had the say-so. Well, they didn't have the say-so. They would have to, so they would put together, the production company would put together the episode, and they would look at it, and they had to say so whether or not, yes, I like this. No, I don't want that in there. Yes, I want that in there. Well, they tried to take that from him, and he said no. He turned it down. So he does a YouTube show now of his own. I was actually on it, and the thing is, he's sure he makes money, sure he has his moments where he's out in the public and he gets irritated, man, just like the day that he was in Gettysburg. Tried to go across the square and go into a pub and have something to eat and could not even order his food because of people. Well, that's what happens, man, when you're like that. But the thing is, if somebody's sitting there and eating, man, leave him alone. You know what I mean? Let him get done. And he would be very happy after that to get up and take selfies with people and stuff like that. But the thing is, Jason and the show Ghost Hunters, I give them very much credibility because they are even the ones on there. How many shows do you see now that will actually say, we don't think nothing's going on here? He is one of a very few that does that. The thing is, people out here, man, they have no credibility whatsoever. And all of a sudden, they're at a Paracon or they're somewhere, and just like old boy said, they take a couple pictures with somebody. I'm one of them, man. I would take pictures with people, that are famous and stuff because I think it's cool, but I know most of them. And I can tell you that most of them, man, are pretty laid back, genuine people. Dave Schrader, man. You've seen Dave on a lot. Dave is probably one of the best guys, funniest dudes that I've ever met. And he comes off very serious he's starting to show his comical side a little bit, now that he's made a name for himself. Now he can be more him. But even talking to him, man, no way that he wouldn't fake stuff. There's no way that he would. Because of the credibility. Talking about Sean Austin. I have investigated with Austin, man, I don't know, 12 times probably. And I have my own opinions on why he gets so much stuff. And it's not that he's being untruthful. I just think that sometimes people, when they're into doing it as a source of income, you got to give yourself a break from paranormal sometimes. If not, you definitely can carry things from one place to another, to another, to another. But what it comes down to simply is the intent. And I speak at some Paracons. I'm speaking at one coming up at the end of July. And that is what I'm talking about. I want to talk about the intent, man. The intent of why you're going into either a place that's famously haunted or into mom and dad's, house? What's your intention? The thing is, we have no clue, man. No clue yet on exactly what's on the other side, as in, what do they know before we even say it? Do they know anything? Do they know our intention when we go in there and feed off that? Now, if you're working with Mike Ross, talking of him, 9 times out of 10, they already know that you're coming. We've seen that, James, where the team has been, freaking at each other's throat, a couple weeks prior to a case that's maybe demonic, and then we realize it and we're like, hold on, man, you know what I'm saying? And you realize then it's already trying to break the team up. It's already trying to cause chaos, stuff like that. But I'm talking about going in somewhere, man, like me going into Mid-Orange this past weekend. We had a very small group, which made it awesome because of exactly what you were saying, the contamination of other groups and shit like that. And it's awesome that we got to go in there. We knew where everybody was. We had the less amount of people we had, we could actually cover every building and only 2 people be in each one of them. And that's kind of what we did, or we went as 3s, but we're always together. And, we went in there and we tried different ways of doing stuff. I went with someone that I'd never really investigated a whole lot with. So it was kind of cool to, thank you. It was, what is it?
So for my bank.
Sorry. But the biggest thing was being able to investigate with somebody different and learn how they do things. But the problem is, man, you got these people out here that have no clue investigating. They watch 2 shows on TV and then they're out here doing shit, man, and they're harming people and themselves more than anything. And I can tell you that I had someone talk to me from a TV show about your Mr. Baggins, and they made a very good, they said something that meant a whole lot to me when they said it, was that when people act like he does, and there's more people than there probably isn't anymore, believe it or not, that go in, not only are they risking themselves, but they're risking the whole production company. They're risking every person that's, every other investigator, every cameraman, anybody that's there with them. They are putting them people in fucking danger, man, by provoking shit. And my thing is, I don't believe half the shit that I see on most of these shows. You and I both, James, know people that every time they go in somewhere, their ass gets grabbed or they get touched or, something happens to them. And the thing is, man, it's just not true. Just like old boy said, it's just not fucking true, man. There's nothing. I mean, I have been, I go to, like yesterday, I spent a ton of time on the battlefield on Little Round Top, standing right where the main, 20th Maine, that whole famous charge by Chamberlain. And we're standing there, and there's like a dozen people standing around. They're all taking pictures. They're all commenting on how beautiful it was. And it was. They did a great job. The Park Service did. But the problem was, man, was that some idiot, man, put out on a page today about how he picked up the voices of the men from the 20th Maine while he was up there. And you hear the park ranger giving his spill and the back of this going on. You have, the little dick dude coming up in the big ass diesel that's got to gun it, to just go up the hill and shit. That's happening on the other side. Then you have the motorcycles coming in and stuff like that. But yet through all that, this dude said that he picked up these EVPs. Obviously, all of us on this show, and I'm hoping some of the other people out there, you put logic into that there's no fucking way, man, that you picked up something like that with all that contamination and noise. And he did it just like the guy you were talking about with the mermaids. I could very much hear that he put in a sound clip, and you literally could hear that his dumbass didn't do it right or didn't know what he was doing, because you could hear the click of the actual sample, and then it played, and then the click for it to stop. And this dude was trying to sell that as paranormal. And it's like, to me, man, it pisses me off because of all the years and money that I've spent to help people and do stuff like that. Do I go to the pay-to-play places? Yes, I do that, but I do it for fun, and I do it to hone in my skills that I can use later down the road when somebody needs, oh, hey, I remember doing this at Penhurst. Let's see if this works. Stuff like that. But the thing is, man, it's becoming, the paranormal field has become too, it's become
a fucking joke.
Yeah, I mean, a joke, but it's become too just every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, remember when all the shows like Ghost Hunters, man, you got to say they're fucking, the ones that pretty much put people on the map, you know what I'm saying, are paranormal when it comes to television. And it's become now that paranormal, it disgusts me about all the times that we have put in and the money to put in and all the effort to do shit and stuff like that to maybe get a little bit of stuff, to now that any Tom, Dick, and Harry can walk out here and walk down the fucking street, and all of a sudden they've picked up, 20 or 30 fucking EVPs, and this person walking past me is not a real person, and this person, it's impossible, man. And these people are out there. I want to blow up some names of some of the shit that I see on YouTube, man, but there's a young group of guys, man, 2 of them, that are running around, and people come into my store every day and say, oh, do you know blah, 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 blah. They were just in Gettysburg, man. They came into the store. I got to meet them. Funny guys. They're fucking kids, man. And they get their rocks off on trying to piss off any spirits that are around. And then they act goofy and, because, something happens, something gets thrown at them, or something supposedly gets thrown at them. Well, dumbass, what do you think's going to happen? Because most of the fucking spirits that you're working with were human beings. The way I approach it, man, and this is how I've been doing it a lot lately, and I always have to a point, but you got to remember, man, that we were going into their house or their area. They were humans at one point in time. So why would I come into either one of your 2 houses and start fucking commanding you and demanding you to fucking talk to me and demanding you to move this or to push that or to, most of the time what's going to happen if you do that with a person that's alive, they're either going to slap the fuck out of you, or they're just going to ignore you and laugh at you and move on. And then they wonder why they're not getting anything. So now we have to make up something. There's a TV show, man, a season of shit that had a very big name that was part of it. I have a gentleman that works for me now. One of the guys that's on that TV show was his team leader, and he was asked to do it. And he went to the first day of filming, and they were showing how they had the rocking chairs set up. So that way they had to count to like 7, walk in the front door, wait for 3 seconds, and then walk into the room, because the sound men were pulling the fucking line to get the rocking chair to rock as soon as they come through. And this guy, I have to give him props. He said, I don't give a fuck how much money that you give me. I am not going to jeopardize my name. I'm not jeopardizing anything like that, he said, and I will not do it for any amount of money. And I have to give him props for that. And I know he's telling me the truth, because I've met the people that he used to be on a team with. But they were, obviously they put this show around one person. And that person, knowing that they allowed that to happen. Zach Bagans just got busted how long ago about the fucking tablecloth or whatever. You know, they had footage of him telling them how they were going to fake it and shit like that. And then, but people will watch that. Dude, this is what I don't understand of people's fucking thinking process. We will watch where this person got busted fucking doing something fake. Okay, you know that they did it, but yet you will turn on that TV and watch him on the next episode and believe every fucking thing that he's saying. And it's like, you know as well as I do, James, that he would run the other way with real paranormal activity. And the thing is, you know, just like I said, Sean Austin, man, great guy, very good investigator. He actually amazes me with some of the shit that he does, but he also is all about, you know, moving them. You know, he tries to help the ones that are stuck here. He can't move them to the other side, you know, but he will definitely guide them to the light, I guess you could say. And it's an awesome experience to do that with him. But also, with that being said, you also put yourself in jeopardy of a lot of bad shit coming at you. But just like in that 28 Days Haunted, man, you know, they were the ones that were speaking, that were kind of commentating for that show. I can tell you that one of them thinks paranormal's bullshit, but yet he's banking on it with more than just that show. He owns a lot of haunted objects because a couple that had them both have passed now, and now he's parading those haunted objects around everywhere, making bukus of money, and does not even fucking believe that they're haunted. That's the kind of shit that people are paying to go see, man. And they're paying this, and they're paying hundreds of fucking dollars, man, to do it. You know, and then you have something where a Paracon that they have, or an event that's actually raising money for like wounded warriors and shit that comes around that charges $20 for 3 days, man. And people will turn their nose up to that because they don't have, you know, a shit ton of famous people there. And it's like, come on, man, you got to do things for the right reasons. The same with paranormal, man. When you go into someone's house, it's not to get the best fucking footage. It's not to do anything. It's to help people out, man. And that's what it all started to begin with. If you go back and watch the first season to almost every season now, but the first couple seasons of Ghost Hunters, man, watch what they're doing when they go in these people's houses and stuff, or even bigger places. They're going in to help people. So wherever it started at, man, to where it's now entertainment instead of actually helping people, that's where the downfall is. It's all about TikTok views. It's about money. It's about being famous. It's about how many TV shows you could be on. I mean, I was just literally on a show on YouTube with Jason Hawes. Do you think that I'm blasting it everywhere? Sure. I put it up on my Facebook, said, watch this, because that's cool. I had that experience. But is it that I want to be famous? No. What I am doing is hoping that in the long run, the place that Jason was investigating beside my business is the Inn on Lincoln Square, who are owned by two of my closest friends, Hillary and Gus, who are awesome fucking individuals, man. And they deserve, you know, they know the place is haunted. It was there during the battle. They stocked bodies chest high in the basement of it, you know, and if it brings them more business with paranormal enthusiasts, then I hope that it does, man, because they deserve every penny of it, because they don't do it for the money. That is their livelihood, you know, but they're not promoting it as a haunted place. Like old boy was saying, the ridiculous amount of money that they ask to go into some of these places is by far fucking ridiculous. And I can tell you, like the Hinsdale house, you know, Daniel's a good friend of mine that owns that. It's like $500-600, man, to go for a night there. And as long as you don't bring half of fucking state with you, he doesn't care if you got 10 or 15 people. So it ends up being like $20-30 a person, if that, to get to stay the night, which you sleep there and stuff too. So really you're paying for like a B&B. It just happens to be the demonic haunted Hinsdale house, you know? But that's the thing, man. People, if I could give any advice, make sure you discern and look at, are they entertainers? Are they fucking investigators? Are they ghost hunters? And use logical thinking and understand that I wouldn't have done this for 37 fucking years if it was as easy to walk out the front door and just see paranormal happening right in front of me every single fucking day. It's bullshit. They do not, and half the shit they show you is bullshit. Put logical thinking behind it and try to debunk it. The best fucking investigators out there are the ones that debunk and are skeptic and try to find the logical reasoning behind it, just like James said earlier. And that's why I'm on here with these guys, and that's why I do paranormal things with these guys, because, you know, we logically think through the shit before saying something's paranormal. Had an instance Saturday, and then I'll shut up. I had an instance Saturday where we caught what we thought was a light anomaly going across the wall quickly. And then like 20 minutes later, I seen it again. So I look out the window, man, and this place does sit back in the middle of nowhere. But the thing was, man, there was a warehouse about, I don't know, probably half a mile away that had these fucking yard trucks, man. And every time they come around the one corner, it happened to shine through the window. The window was actually, it was a chapel, so it had stained glass with different colors in it. And there was your light anomaly, man, hitting that, doing that. We all laughed about it because we spent 35, 40 fucking minutes to just understand it was, you know, a fucking headlight. But the thing was, we could have very easily recorded that, threw it out on TikTok, look at this fucking light anomaly, shit like that, and billion or thousands would have watched it. But then let us put the real thing up. Wait, we've seen this light anomaly, check it out. But guess what it is? People don't want to fucking hear that. And that's the sad truth, man, of paranormal anymore. The people want the fucking bullshit more than they want the truth. Because if they had the truth, they would understand that the paranormal can be a very boring fucking thing sometimes.
Absolutely. People don't see the thousands and thousands of hours that we film, that nothing happens. You know, I want everybody to understand, like, when we do an investigation, we are always filming. Okay, we're not filming for a show when we go in. We are filming so that we have a record of the entire interview, the entire conversation, all of that. Sometimes we do an audio, like in the initial interviews. A lot of times it'll just be audio recording because we need that record so we can go back and listen to it and figure out what's going on. And when we're actually doing the physical investigation, we are filming because that way you're going to catch a lot of things. We got cameras set up in other rooms sometimes where there's been activity so that we can see if anything happens while we're there. You know, now sometimes if it's a good investigation, there's a lot of cool stuff that happens and the people are cool with it, we'll put it out. But we don't put the entire thing out, we put what happened out. So you don't see the 100 or so hours of nothing. You see the minute or two of something happening. You see what I'm saying? And Andy said something very, very wise and very important. And that is that they're making this stuff an everyday thing. And that's important. And I'll tell you why it's important. It's important because you have these people that are pretending, that are faking. And everything is a demon now, right? So they're pretending that they're dealing with demons all the time. And they're pretending that they're talking shit to demons all the time. Okay, now take it from somebody who has actually talked shit to a demon. That's not an easy thing to do. It's not a smart thing to do in most cases. I agree 100% about provoking. There are cases, though, and Andy will agree with me on this, that provoking is necessary. If you got some little bitch-ass demon that's hiding and don't want to come out and play so you can get to the bottom of it and get rid of his ass, sometimes you got to piss him off a little bit, make him angry so he'll show himself, right? Sometimes that's necessary, but not all the time. And especially not if you don't know what the hell you're doing. Okay, so a lot of these people that are faking and they're out there pretending to talk shit to a demon, they're making all these people watch think that demons, one, are way more prevalent than they actually are, and two, that they're not a big deal at all. When the reality is, demons are assholes, man. They're little punk-ass assholes, and they are horrible, and all they want is to destroy your ass. And the problem is when you portray that you can just talk shit to them like they're nothing, right? That doesn't explain the reality of the situation, that they can destroy you like that. You think when I go into a place or Andy goes into a place and we talk to demons and we actually cast them out, you think that's us? You think that it's because I'm such a badass I can go in there and bitch slap a demon and kick him out of a house? You think that's the truth? No, that's not the truth. The truth of the matter is that demon will wipe the fucking floor with me like that. I'm nothing compared to that thing, its power. The reason it doesn't is because of God. God's power is what takes those things out. God's authority is what makes them leave. But the problem is you don't get the real story when you're watching all these shows and you're watching all this stuff on YouTube and TikTok and all that. What you get is people pretending that they're talking shit to a demon and doing stuff. And then what happens is normal, real people actually try that shit in real life. And they get attachments. And they get their lives destroyed. And they lose their marriage. And they lose their job. And their finances go to shit. And they get sick. And they get in car accidents. Their children get sick and die. Those things actually happen. Because they think that it's perfectly fine and cool to go out there and provoke and talk shit to something that you don't understand, and something that, if it is demonic, most times is more powerful than you can ever imagine. Now, you might think by saying that I like these things. I don't. I hate demons. They're pieces of shit. And I'll say that on the record, and I don't give a damn, and they know I think that. But I'm not going to pretend like they're little bitches. They're powerful. It's only God that can handle them, not me. But that doesn't mean that I like them, just because I respect their power. You know what I mean? I know what they're capable of. And I also know that they're liars. And they're capable of taking weak-minded people and convincing them that they're their friends. They're capable of twisting people's understanding and their minds into believing that these things are making their lives better, that they can make a deal with them. What they don't understand is, yes, things might go good for you for a little while you're alive, but it always ends the same way, with your dumb ass in hell. That's where it ends. We know how it ends. We've read the book. We understand exactly what the hell these things are and what they're doing. They're trying to destroy you. They're trying to separate you from God so that you can burn for all eternity, because they hate you. They're not your buddy. They're not your friend. They're not helping you in life because they like you. They're helping you in life because that way you surrender to them. That way, see, people say they sell their soul. You can't sell your soul. Your soul doesn't belong to you. But what you can do is throw it away for free. You can throw away your relationship with God. You can throw away your salvation. You can throw away any chance that you have of an eternity in heaven. You can do that yourself. And that's what they make you do, by lying to you and giving you what you think you want on this earth. But it's all bullshit, because they're liars. They're liars, and they're assholes, man. Plain and simple. I don't know how else to say it, you know. But we are getting towards the end of this show. So what I want to do, I want to throw to Old Boy. I want to throw to Andy. Whoever wants to go can go. And they'll give their final sum up, their shout outs and all that stuff. And then we'll wrap this puppy up. So whoever wants it, take it.
Okay. Well, I want to let everybody know that thank you for letting us do the show. It turned into the paranormal just this one time, just because we wanted to show the truth about a lot of shit that's going on. And I'll just make it quick. Look,
Believe whatever you want to believe in. If you're in the paranormal world, at least know what the fuck you're doing. Don't watch TV. Don't kiss people's asses all over the place just to become famous and pretend that you know what you're doing. I'm talking about this is a lot of people. Don't watch shows and think that you're some fucking ghost hunter and you know what you're fucking dealing with, because we've had to help people that went in there and didn't know what the fuck they're doing, and we've had to help either the people or them. And just so you know, we do know a lot of fucking people in the paranormal world altogether. So if you think you're pulling one past us, running your mouth, and this is what happens with a lot of people, we know what you're saying. We just haven't said nothing because some people, we don't want them to have problems in their life. And there's some people who I have my opinions on, but for Andy's sake and James' sake, I'm not going to say nothing. But I believe they instigate a lot of stuff, and it's all over. I don't have this issue like back east. It's crazy back here. All the shit I hear Andy has to deal with. There's stuff that happens out here, and because we have a lot of issues is with teams. You know, there's a lot of people back and forth trying to outdo each other, and then there's people who think they're ghost hunters because they watch a couple shows and chase celebrities around and try to get their autographs. But yet when we were talking to independent groups, didn't want nothing to do with them because they weren't famous. So that's the stuff that I deal with. But just remember, karma's a bitch. And it is true. People who don't done the paranormal, they have bad things happen and continuously have bad things happen, and they still don't fucking learn. They don't learn their lesson. And they're going to continuously. And the funny thing is, the backstabbers always hang out together. And they talk shit about each other. And then they go back and forth. And that's the funny. If you're watching this show, just so you know, you're not getting away with anything. They might pretend to like you. Of course. When everybody's to your face, there's millions of people like you. They're really not. They really don't. Then they say shit behind. Everybody does that. We all know that. And just in real life altogether. Just so people know, we know more than you think we do. We just don't care. I don't care. I don't care what you think. We're one of the best teams in the world. I'm willing to do anything. So will James. So will Andy. Anything. I do talk shit to demons, but I respect them. I know what they can do. And most of them are not demons. Remember, fallen angels are angels. They become the demons. But remember, these things are more powerful than anything you've ever really dealt with in real life. You're not going to be able to punch them in the face and they run away. That you got to know what the fuck you're doing, or they'll destroy your life. And you might think that you know what you're doing. They're still there with you. And you know what? It's not done. What's coming? Trust me. And I'm just saying that in general. Karma is real. Remember that. And I believe that. You don't have to believe that, but I believe it and I've seen it happen. But that being said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed We're Screwed. We're very controversial. And if you don't like it, like I said, am I going to go to bed tonight? Yes. James is going to go to bed tonight. Andy is too. But the point is, I'm not going to stop telling the truth, and neither is James. People may not say we're telling the truth and say we're lying. That's fine. They won't say it to our face. And if they do, it will be over the phone, but not to our face. But it doesn't matter, because we're here to tell the truth. We're here to piss you off. We're not here to tell you something that's not real. If you want to see that, go watch TikTok and look at the birds as they're drones. Or go jump in a tiger cage. Or reptilians will come hug you and bring you candy. But that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the show on We're Screwed on Spotify, YouTube. I'm going to try to put it on other platforms down the line. I want to do a live show eventually. We will one day. And if you ever want to be a guest, let us know. We'll let you come on. Anything, any kind of guest. If you have an issue with what we talk about, any issue, like politics, sexuality, religion, come on. As long as we're going to sit here and fight, we're not going to do that. I'm not going to sit here and we're going to attack you, you're going to attack us, and get in a debate. We can all have a discussion. If you have an issue with the trans thing, come on here. We have no problem. We'll talk to you. We're not people like that. We don't do that. We all have different opinions on here. Me and James sure in hell do. Andy to a point. But Andy's kind of in the middle. But I have a whole different opinion. James does too, but we get along perfectly fine. We've been doing the show for 8 years. But if you guys got anything to say, anything you guys want us to talk about, leave it in the comments. We're going to start bringing out merchandise for We're Screwed. We're Screwed is going to be something. And it was before we stopped, but we just, Staring Abyss blew up. And we just had to start doing that. And we're still going to do that because I think we're one of the greatest paranormal teams in the world. And we have the best, and James has got one of the best voices in the world. Andy's one of the best investigators in the world. I'm one of the best hunters in the world / investigators. I think we're there. Just, you're not going to hear a lot about us because we don't lie. And I'm not saying that everybody does. We're not going to lie. We're not going to bullshit you guys like he was saying. Sean Austin was going to be on our show. He still will. We know all these guys. We could have them on. We just don't want to put a whole bunch of people just so you guys watch our show. That's because we're not like that. But that being said, thank you guys for listening. Thank you for following us. And like I said, you have a good night, Misfits, Sugar Ladies, Monster Lovers, Demon Hunters. I fucking love you. Blessed be. And there you go. Andy, there you go, brother. It's your turn.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody out there, too, that watches us and know that no matter if we're disagreeing with something that you disagree with us about, there's still a mutual respect. And that's what it's supposed to be about. And that's what's been lost quite a bit out here in the world today, is the right and freedoms so far still in this country to be able to speak what we feel and give our opinion, and we shouldn't be harassed about it. Have a respectful debate. As in the paranormal field, vet your people. If you are a person out there, you can definitely, if you're having issues, get with us. We now, since I live where I do, James where he's at, and old boy where he's at, we can cover quite a bit of area. And most of the time, if we aren't close to you, I can pretty much promise you that we can get somebody that is very, respected in the field. I know a lot of people, so do these guys, and we wouldn't just throw any, Tom, Dick, and Harry at you out there to help you out. But the thing is, just like them talking about demons, both of them are correct. You got to know how to handle stuff like that. You got to know how to handle malevolent stuff. You got to know how to handle even children energy, spirits, whatever you want to call it. It's all energy. And I've tried explaining that actually today to the teens, that pretty much every piece of equipment that we use is based on energy. Picking up EMF, cat balls that some people use, EMF detectors, even EVPs, man, it's energy, and it's putting it out there. And that's the thing, people are out here spreading love and light and say they're energy workers. Well, so are most investigators that know what they're doing. And the thing is, what I love doing this with these guys, because we can be ourselves, we can talk shit and say how we really feel, but when it comes down to it, all three of us are going to be honest and open and always tell the truth. And it's going to piss some people off because people can't deal with the truth anymore. And truth is, use some logical fucking thinking when it comes to shit you see on TikTok and stuff like that. Seriously, just, think about it. Seriously, fucking birds, all of them are drones and shit, when you know that you've probably picked up a dead bird and threw it in the garbage, or you've had something happen that you've had a bird. And bullshit, man. Go into a pet store, walk up and grab a fucking bird. If it's a mechanical object, then it's not going to do a whole lot. But I guarantee you, your ass will probably get pecked up or something like that, or bit, or whatever they want to call it. But anyhow, my shout out tonight's a little bit different. So, I'm not pulling my own string, but the thing is, go city tours. That's who I work for. I work at the one in Gettysburg, and I'm very proud. I want to give a shout out to my team because we were voted today, or we were given an award today by TripAdvisor that only 1% in the world gets. And we were awarded that today for one of the tours that we give. And so I'm giving a shout out to those guys that are keeping it real. That, you know, that's one thing with the guys and gals that I have work for me. They would like this show because they would agree with the paranormal aspect of it. But these people are awesome people who give a shit about giving other people a good time. And somewhere that's been lost out here. They are entertainers, but they're also truth tellers, history tellers. You know, they come from all aspects. So I'm giving them a shout out for, you know, walking people through the fucking rain and through the heat and everything else, because they give a shit about not only keeping the history real and what it really happened, but they're also there to give some people an opportunity to just laugh, you know, and have a good time. And we miss that a whole lot. And this shows to make people laugh and also debate and think and stuff like that. So my shout outs not only to my people that are on my team, but also to these two gentlemen here, and out to the people who keep it real in the paranormal field and in life, period. And yes, I know the ones that are full of shit. I may smile, shake your hand, hang out every now and then, but I also have the radar or the bullshit shield up. And today I had it up for a good while. So anyhow, keep it real, people. Think logically, love one another, and go out tomorrow. Tell yourself it's going to be a good day, and as well, tell someone else to have a good day. Makes a big difference. Thank you, guys.
I'm one of those kind of people that I'm going to tell you how it is. You know, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to bullshit you. I'm going to tell you the truth. But as Andy said, I mean, it's all done with respect and love. You know, yes, I may get a little fired up when I go on a rant, a little bombastic. Bombastic. That's a great word, isn't it? They call me Mr. Bombastic. Remember that song? Who was that? Snow or some shit like that? Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm old. Listen, this is what I'm saying. I may get a little fired up on a rant or whatever, and I may say it like it is. That doesn't mean I hate anybody, you know, and I never talk shit about people behind their back, like in secret. I never do that.
Shaggy.
Okay? Shaggy. Okay, cool. Yeah. I mean, it was like when I was a teenager or some shit that came out. But there's been people that have claimed that I've said shit that I haven't said. Okay. And here's the problem. The people that they tell it to, they don't ever contact me and ask me, hey, did you say this shit? Because I'll tell you straight up if I said it or not. You know, the majority of the time that shit happens, I don't even know who the hell those people are. You know, like old Special K said I was running my mouth about a certain group, and I don't even know who the hell that group is. I never even heard of them dudes. Never. I ain't never run my mouth about them. I don't even know who the hell they are. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to them. I don't know them. I don't know who the hell they are. I've never even heard the name. So why would I run my mouth about somebody I never even heard of?
Special K.
Yeah, Special K. One of these days, we're going to tell you the tale of Special K. He's a dumb bastard. He is the dumbest son of a bitch I've ever met in my life. He ain't worth a damn. He's one of them fellas.
Andy's best friend.
He's one of them fellas that runs that mouth all the time. All the time. Lies all the time. He's a sneaky, conniving little prick. But when he's in your face, he don't say a word because he's a bitch. He's a little coward, right? We had our little go around with Special K. You know, I got in a knockdown drag out with old Special K. Ringed his ass up one side and down the other because he did wrong. Right? And then after I did that, there was tension between us. So I decided I'm going to be the bigger man. I'm going to say to Special K, listen, I apologize to you, man. I apologize to you for getting out of line and yelling at you. And I just want to say that I'm sorry. and I want to clear the air. So if there's any animosity towards me from you, if there's anything you need to say to get off your chest, you got any kind of problem, let's air it out, let's talk, and let's make it right. You know what I mean? Because I was in the wrong. I was right about what I was saying, right? I wasn't in the wrong in the argument. I was in the wrong of how I handled the argument, because sometimes I get a little fired up. So yeah, I fucking told him how it was, you know, because he was being a sneaky little prick. And he knows he was being a sneaky little prick. He knows he was wrong. But see, he had a problem with me because of it. So then instead of being a man, when I say, hey, I'm sorry, let's clear this shit up and let's air it out, right? Instead of doing that like a man would, he goes, oh, no, we're cool, man. I never had any problem with you. To my face. But then behind my back, he runs and tells other teams that I'm talking shit about them and all this stuff. Teams I've never even heard of. So I can tell you right now, if you're that team that's listening, I didn't say nothing about you because I don't know who the hell you are. To this day, I don't know who you are. I've heard your name now because of this bullshit, but I could see you on the street tomorrow and I would have no idea who the hell you are. You know? And I'm not big leaguing you, man. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just saying I don't know who you are. So there's no way I was saying shit about you. And if I had something to say about you, I'd say it right to your face because I'm not afraid of anything. You know, I'm the kind of guy that I will tell you right to your face if I got something to say to you. I'm not going to go behind your back and be a little bitch boy like Special K is, you know. So people like that, I said before we started this show, me and the boys were talking. I said the trash always takes itself out, and that's what I believe. Those kind of people, everywhere they go, they have the same problems because they're cowards and they can't face up to what reality is and face up to what they actually said or did. You know, if he would have taken that like a man and said, hey, you know what? You're right, James. I fucked up. I was going behind your back. I was conniving and I fucked up. I'm sorry. If he'd have done that like a man, we'd be cool. You know, wouldn't have an issue. I gave him that opportunity. He refused. I still don't have nothing against him. I'll say that publicly right now. He's a liar and he's a conniving little prick, but I don't have any animosity towards him. I don't care. Say whatever the fuck you want about me, dude. I don't give a shit. You don't matter. Once again, not big leaguing you. I'm not going to lose any sleep over you, bro. You don't matter because you're not going to do shit. What are you going to do? Say I said something? So what? You think I care? And that goes for anybody. You know what I mean? I don't understand why people get so scared of people talking shit. So what? But my message is on this, I don't have any shout outs. So my message is this. If you hear somebody's talking shit about you, be a man. Contact that person. Say, hey man, you talk shit about me? You say this? This guy right here said you said this. Did you say it? I'll tell you straight up if I said it or not. But I can tell you, and Andy and Old Boy can both attest to this, they've known me a long, long time. I'm not going to say shit about somebody that I'm not going to say to that person. I will say publicly exactly what I say behind closed doors. I don't give a damn. You know what I mean? That's just the way it is. So my point on this whole thing is you gotta watch what you believe. You gotta watch who you follow and who you trust, and realize that most of these people are full of shit. Most of these people are just trying to make a buck. And the final point that I will make before I close is Batman is a bitch. That's what I'm going to name the show. Birds are not real, and Batman's a bitch. That's going to be the title of this episode. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Let me know down in the comment if you think that Batman's a bitch.
Superman.
And fuck Superman. I'm not putting that in the title, asshole. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys. And we'll catch you on the next one. Till we speak to you again. Love many, trust few, and do harm to none. God loves you, and so do we. Bye-bye. Batman's a bitch.
Fuck Superman.